Hello everyone, I'm Dhiraj Chauhan and I'm a Google Summer of Code mentor for organization 52 Degree North. And this year I'll be mentoring the project called EnviroCar App Voice Command. As I spoke in last video, I'll be making bunch of videos to help contributors get started, get up to speed quickly, and give them a solid foundation to contribute to this project. In this video, we are gonna go through how you can set up the EnviroCar Rasa Bot repository, how you can test the model locally, how you can train the model locally, and most importantly, how you can push the model on the cloud so that you can use and basically you can connect your app with the model itself. So yeah, let's get started in the video. I'm picking up this project because this is relatively harder to set up and how one can test locally, more train locally, and most importantly, again, how one can push the model to cloud so that one can connect with the application. So yeah, let's get started. Um, First of all, in the most important part, go through the README. Um, Everything I have tried my best to explain everything in the README, so one to get started. But if you are still having any problems, we'll go through this. No worries. So before anything we get started, make sure that you have installed Python 3.7. I know this is not the latest, but the project requires that particular Python version. So make sure you have that. Rasa also required at that time. I think it was not for Python 3.10 at that time. Not sure if it's available for that. Feel free to check out and maybe create an issue if it can be upgraded. But make sure when you're coming up with an upgrade to a library, check out what are the differences will be there and what is something may degraded the performance or something. Cool. Once you've installed, as the command is already given, that you need to install something called pip env. So just run the command in your terminal, and as I've already installed just to test out stuff before this, it has already been installed. But for you, it will install it. Again, Python 3.7 is needed. Once you do that, you need to run a command, something called pip env install. It's already given. If you're not in the directory, you can cd it, but I'm already it, so I'm gonna run this command and install everything. It's gonna install everything which is given in this pip env file, which is Rasa with this version, data classes with this version, and again, as I said, it requires Python 3.7. What is pip env? It is basically a package to easily manage and set up your working environment. So it never gives you a problem with if you already have a Python project and you have different dependencies for that particular project. You never have to like mess up your environment for that. You can just create a new environment where everything related to this project will be there. So once you do that, you will see something like this. To activate this project virtually env, run pip env shell. So let's run that. If you don't, make sure you run this command, because if you don't run it, nothing will work. Like if I just do Rasa right now, most probably it will give me an error. But it has been installed. It has been installed inside this particular environment. So run pip env shell, and as you can see, let me just clear this. You can see we are inside EnviroCar Rasa Bot environment. So now everything is there. We can run bunch of stuff, Rasa train, Rasa shell, and all those things which is written in the command. But before we go ahead, let's understand what is Rasa, right? Now sorry, Rasa Open Source, which is a library which we are gonna use to build a conversational ML model or conversational AI, which will allow us to be the mind, or which will allow the project to be the mind of the voice command project, which will handle the prediction of the intent, which is basically what the user is trying to do, um, what are the actions gonna take. Everything will be written, or everything will be which is gonna be related to the mind of the project, which will always be there. Which means, just like our mind is the thing which decides what things to do for something like that. Same for this project, EnviroCar Rasa Bot is the place for that particular part, which means Android app will just do what it's told to do, and Rasa model is the thing, or is the mind which is going to handle everything. So I hope that is clear. It's just a library to build conversational AIs, ML models which can hold conversations, just like a chatbot can be made using this, and that's what we have used. Rasa Open Source, not the pro version, not the community version. It's the open source version. Cool. Once we have understood that, some basic terms I would like to explain about Rasa. I'll just close this as stories. The first thing comes is NLU.yml. So yeah, NLU is a natural language understanding. Now I have defined some things here, but yeah, for Rasa or for an ML model, NLU is a place where everything is defined for understanding of the model, which is, as you can see here, I have defined some examples and I have written something called intent grid, which means anything of these examples come to the model, it will categorize with an intent called grid, which means if I say, hey, hello, hi, hello there, it will categorize everything inside intent grid. Same goes with the goodbye. If I say something like bye, goodbye, see you, maybe I'm not sure which language. If you know, maybe say it in the comment box. Same goes with affirm, deny, mode grade, everything, right? So that is the NLU file, which means where that this is where you define everything of your intent. Now, this is something like before this stuff, everything was given by Rasa itself, but this is where things are related to our project, which is I've defined an intent called main UI recording. Now it has some bunch of examples. I want to start recording, start action recording with some brackets. Now I want to explain this what exactly it is. Now this is a way for developers or for us to write less examples but explain a lot to the model itself. And what I mean by that is I've told the model to understand that if user says I want to, and if it's part of something called recording start action, which you can see inside this lookup examples, which means if any time user says I want to start or I want to begin, I want to set up recording, right? So the bot will still categorize everything inside this and give the intent main UI recording, which is a good part because I don't have to like write again and again and again same thing, right? I can just create a lookup example. I can write bunch of same things, make sure not the same meaning, but the things which you want everything to be categorized under same thing. That is what I have done. And same thing I've done for stop action. I didn't need to like create a whole different intent for everything because that will become a little messier because everything comes inside main UI recording. You need to understand what intent is. Intent is basically a way for model to understand what user is intending the model to do, right? And that is what intent is trying to do, which is categorizing everything inside with this. That's why you don't want to like bring two three a lot of intents which after all can be categorized into one, and that's what I've tried my best to do here. I hope that makes sense. Same goes with select car. I've added a bunch of like these things. Obviously, this can be improved with the lookup example. Feel free to create a PR if you can improve this. But make sure you given a reason for why you are how it's getting improved, and the best way to do so is giving a maybe accuracy or for future users too. Cool. I hope that is clear. Same goes with the select car selection number, first, second, third, and same goes with select itself. I think I've not used that, but yeah, select choose with a synonym. So if I say select, pick or everything, everything will be still into same categories. Now the other part which I want to explain is something called stories. Now this is heart of Rasa, which means stories are a type of I'm sorry. Um, yeah, stories are a type of training data. I'm sorry. Stories are a type of training data which is used to train the model itself, right? Now, the way it works is you give as the story is as the story means in real life, right? You give the bunch of you explain the story in steps, right? The same goes here itself. Like I've written story happy path, and it has bunch of steps. Like if intent great is happening, do this action. If intent mood great is happening, do this action. Now, what I mean by that is if something is going with this following path, that means the story happy path has been following, which means if intent great is happening, utter great is happening, action, then intent mood great and the action utter happy, which means this story has been followed. So this is story. This is again normal understanding is it's type of training data, and that is what I have done. Like happy path for story recording, which means if main UI recording has been detected from the user side and the entity recording start action. And what do we mean by entity is basically this, like this lookup example. If everything is gone by this following path, then run the action, something called action start recording. Now this is a story, again type of training data, and this is a really good way to like explain how the flow will be to the model so that it can understand. The next part I would like to explain is rules.yml file. And this is where everything goes related to the rules. Now, what does rule mean? Rule means like if something X happens, do the do the action Y. That is what even in Rasa the rule means, which means again it's a type of training data to train the model, but this is more like a short pieces of examples where you are telling that if something like this happens, you must do this, you need to do this. And that is what you can see. If someone says goodbye anytime the user say goodbye anytime to the user says goodbye, which is a rule name. Steps is if goodbye intent is detected, you have to say action utter goodbye. Now you must be wondering what is utter goodbye. Let's see. I'll do go to a different file domain.yml where everything related to stories, rules, actions, and everything will be related here. And that is what domain.yml file uses, which is everything related to intents, entities, actions, like one place for model to know that everything is needed here. Just like any language has like import statements, all that, same goes here. Like everything related to the model or training data is gonna be here, which means so that it can check if something is there or there not. I hope that explains. But again, if you don't understand anything, Rasa documentation is the place to go. For me also, it's been really long time since I used Rasa, so I'm trying my best to explain. But if you don't understand anything, feel free to comment something, and I'll try my best to explain it with the help of Rasa documentation. Cool. Now that we have understood NLU, rules, stories, domain, everything, now let's go to the README file and check out the next methods. So I'll just run Rasa train, which is gonna train our model because now that we have understood good understanding of Rasa. So I'm just gonna run that. It's gonna take some time. It's giving some error. Most probably I changed something here. So I'll just Control Z and I'll try to run again. And it should be running, training the model. Most probably it won't take much time for me because I had already trained before this just to test out stuff. And as you can see, Rasa model has been trained, which means anytime if you do any changes, make sure you are training your model so that the newer version is gonna be used. Now you can see models, this has been saved. Make sure this is already inside your gitignore file because no one would want the models to be stored on the GitHub or anywhere else. Now, obnoxious pigment, really weird name, but yeah, this is gonna be used in the latest one. So let's test out, right? Let's run Rasa shell. Now, what Rasa shell is gonna do is Rasa shell is gonna run this command, and it's gonna create a environment where we can test out and talk with our pod itself. Again, everything related to the commands and everything is already given by Rasa inside the documentation. I guess I've also given inside somewhere here where you can read it or something. As you can see, it's starting a Rasa server on this particular URL. It's gonna pretty much be same for everyone. Rasa server is up and running. So let's give it an input right now. Let's go to stories and or let's go to rules. We have intent goodbye. Let's go to NLU goodbye and see what is something which I can write. Oh, I can just write goodbye, and it should run something called utter goodbye, which is in domain.yml, and it should just say bye. So let's do goodbye. And as you can see, the bot replied with bye. If I say hey, it should reply with something like hey, how are you? Because that is what something has been written for utter great. And if you go to like rules, or at least in stories, it's mentioned here. If something what great happens, you should do like something like action utter great. If this is the story has been followed. So I hope that was clear. Now we have understood basic understanding of Rasa basic terms. More understanding can be taken by reading my blogs, which are highly recommended. I'm saying it again. And also you can go to Rasa docs. Cool. So let's stop this Rasa shell and let's go to readme again. So now that we have basic understanding of Rasa and all those terms around it, we have trained the bot, we have tested the bot. Now let's go through a really good part, which is testing out locally with using the APIs, right? Because that's how we're gonna do things. So let's check out our Rasa server and everything and see if this works. So I have given it two commands, which is first is Rasa server and test locally, and one is with the using the custom channels. Now, what are channels? Now, if you scroll down a more, Rasa gives us two channels. Now, channels you can, in simple terms, you can understand is like a path from which our request can go. Request is basically a API request. Now, there are two channels, which one channel which is given by Rasa, which is REST channel, which is default. Now, the problem with this, we cannot add functionalities It can be used for like learning purposes, and you can understand it and make your own channel. So we can like use the extra functionalities, add extra functionalities to like send extra data like metadata. I had created the extra channel in our project, which was EnviroCar channel, which was used to create a custom channel where we added extra functionalities like sending extra data like metadata or even credentials if that can be used in the future. You can read more about like custom channels. So I hope that was clear. Let's use our custom channels itself. You can go inside credentials.yml and you will see that is what it's happening there. We are just adding bunch of credentials. It can be like database credentials and everything, and it will just load up for a particular model. Let's start this server. I'll just copy paste this. If it's gonna take some time, most probably I'll just gonna skip everything. But if it doesn't take much, I'll most probably not forward. Now the next part is which is action server. Now before we run this command, I would like to explain you something. Um, as you already saw, like running Rasa shell and testing out our bot locally, you must have thought, oh, it just gives out text responses. What if I want to do something more? What if I'm building or let's say for our use case only, right? We want our request go through the app, bring up the user selection cars, user status, like is the recording already going on or it is not going on and everything, right? We want to do more than that, which means we are gonna do API calls, we are gonna do database integration and everything. And that is where Rasa custom actions comes in, which is run any code which you want. Now, what do we mean by actions? Just like we had seen last time, right? We were able to run utter great and all the other actions. Same goes here too, which means running the actions, custom actions, where we can add bunch of code which we want to run in. Now, I would like you to focus on actions here, and I've modularized everything under one folder for like car selection, start recording, stop recording. If you go to like car selection, you can see there's a bunch of like action name, which is action ask car number, bunch of code which I'm taking from API and all those stuff in which is app. So that is where custom actions come. So for testing out, we will also start the action server. Now you need to understand one more thing about Rasa architecture is Rasa server and Rasa action server are both different things. Which means if you do something with Rasa server or just start Rasa server, it won't listen to Rasa action server, and you'll most probably get an error if you have added. I'm sorry, if you have added like Rasa action server also in the server workflow or in the stories. So make sure you are also running Rasa action server. As you see, I got Rasa command not found because in this terminal, I had not started the environment. So make sure you always do it before running this commands. I'll just clear it. I'll copy this command again, and I'll just paste it. Now see, action server is started. And you can see a bunch of actions which I had written like action follow-up, car number, car verification, detailed car selection, etc., etc., etc. So now that everything is running, now I'll highly recommend you all to install Postman because that's where we are going to test everything. So I'll just open it in a minute. Give me 1 sec. Cool. Now as you can see, you already see some response, but yeah, we'll look into, no worries. So go through the README and you'll be able to see something called this uh, particular line, which is where it would be something like channel name or something like that. Since as told you, we are going to use EnviroCar channel. That's why the link has EnviroCar. And again, the same link is already given in the README itself. Now, what you have to do is just create a new request in Postman. Don't forget to change to post a request since we are going to send data. And inside raw, you can copy the same thing which is already given in the README itself, which is message and hello. I hope everything is clear. Again, saying you need to change the request from get to post, change the channel name to EnviroCar. Other than everything is given in README, make sure you go through everything before asking questions. Now, what we are going to do is let's change hello to everything because you can already see hello, how are you from my last testing part. Let's do goodbye, okay? As we already saw in the testing part, we should be getting something called bye as a reply. So let's run this. And as you see, I'm getting a bye reply, which means everything is working perfectly, even with our APIs, because again, it's using the same model. So I hope that was clear. Now, since we are already able to do set up everything locally, the important part comes in, or the interesting part comes in, is how do you make this whole model go like on the cloud, where you can get the public APIs and use directly in your app to connect your app with the Rasa model, right? So I'll just change this window and give me 1 sec. Um, cool. Now, as you can see, okay, let me just change the screen size. Sorry for this. So there is something called a website called Okteto, right? I'll explain you related to that everything before. How about we just go to okteto.com first? So if this is the website, again, links will be given in the description. This is a website where you can add everything on the cloud about your Rasa. You can check out pricing. It's free for us. Uh, Developers, again, this works on the 24-hour basis, something I don't remember quite often. But the way it works is, I'm sorry, I have to change window. Yeah. The way it works is, in 24 hours, as long as if you're sending requests, this will not shut down. But otherwise you need to like run again. This is not a solution for your proper like API or like for our EnviroCar. This is just for you to test out stuff everything is working on the cloud or like with your app and Rasa model. So yeah, to get started, just click on try free or login. I'm already logged in, so I'll already go. And for before this, I was already testing out, so I can already see. But yeah, just to get started, you just click on launch dev environment. Make sure everything is already out on public on your GitHub. Since I'm using my fork itself, you must have already forked. I already see 6 forks. Before this, it was just one. So yeah, you can just grab this link of this. Like you can go to Okteto launch dev environment. Bunch of links I was testing out like 6 months ago, 7 months ago. But yeah, you can click on. I clicked on EnviroCar Rasa Bot. You should also see your own repo. I will not be clicking on launch again because this has already been happening here. So I will just directly show. But yeah, once you are done, it will start deploying. Obviously, it will take some time because it's not on your machine if you're faster, it's on the cloud machine and it takes time. Wait until it's done. Once it's done, Rasa Action Server and Rasa Server, you should see two things. The important thing for you to look into is you getting this endpoint. And if you are using the same code which I used, which is on the same repo again, if you fork this and do not change anything, you should see everything which is related to set up this, which is Docker endpoints, Docker Compose, even for the Docker file, and also Octeto.yml, which is required for everything this. Again, if I get time, I'll explain everything properly related to like setup and how you can make this even more robust and improve this. But for now, let's focus on just on this. So yeah, once you have published it, it will take some time. And once you're done with this, you should get this URL. So grab this URL. Go to the Postman again and paste it there with replacing your local host and everything. So I'll just change the window and I'll show you. I hope everything will be still the same and I don't have to change the window. Okay, I have to. Cool. Now if you see, we were here. So let's change this localhost 5005 to our URL. Now let's do this. Now how about let's do a get request. Let's go to none and let's check the version. I hope this is a correct request, but I actually don't remember. Let's see. Okay, version is not correct. So how about we just go to post and do the same thing here. We just go to raw, do a message goodbye, and let's see if we get the bye itself. And as you can see, we can get the text reply bye. So yeah, our URL, online URL is also working, and I hope you are also doing the same. If you want more URLs, there is something called this um, uh, 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 something called Rasa Open Source. I hope version was this only. The base URL is this, but I really don't remember why version was not working for us. Maybe I just need to do this and hopefully it will working. Not post, but get, and it is working. So yeah, I just needed to change the URL, but yeah. For you, the only thing which you need to remember is go through this video and yeah, try out a bunch of stuff, add your new commands. I hope this video was really helpful to you. Let's try out something else like hello, Dhiraj. Like try your best to break the bot itself, and once you break the bot, you will get to know how it can be improved, right? That is really fun part. Don't forget to change get to post, and let's see if this works. Oh, it still works, which is because the intent and everything is correct. And says, hey, how are you? So I hope everything was clear to you in this video. If you still do not understand anything, let me know. I've tried my best to explain related to Rasa and setting up dev environment. So yeah, this was the video for setting up the dev environment. If you have problems, let me know, and I'll see you in the next video. Also, let me know what topics should I explain in the next part. Again, it should be related to our EnviroCar voice command app itself. Okay then, see you next time, I guess. Peace.